Greetings, everyone. This is Payman Lorenzo, your host of the Leaders Without podcast. Today, once again, I have a really good, an awesome guest, a special guest because this is a special event. This is going to be our number 140th episode. So quite a milestone, just 10 shy from 150. And the thing I only started in October of 2020. I would have never thought I would get this far and get to speak with so many incredible, wonderful, heart-centered, world-class experts in various fields around the world. So today I have here my good friend Rachelle. Rachelle is amazing. We connected about a few days ago through, once again, the Serving Circle and our good friends Tyson and Elvira. Elvira is a wonderful lady. She's a good friend as well here in Toronto. So a little bit about Rachelle. She grew up in beautiful San Diego. She's been a paramedic for 6 years. She did for Cynic and crime laboratories. But one thing that has really stood out about her, and that's going to be a beautiful message that we want to talk about, is that back in 2008, she had a rare form of brain tumor, and she was able to beat that, and that's why she's here now to tell us about it and how she did it. That's going to be the interesting part. And she's doing a lot of amazing things. She's working with clients to get on podcast and also preparing them for TEDx speeches. She's done a TEDx speech herself in Louisiana, I believe. So, and she has a wonderful tagline, which I can really resonate with, and that is, we only have one life to live, so do your thing unapologetically. So, Rachelle, we have quite a lot to talk about, not to mention your wonderful, amazing, beautiful guitars in the background. They're almost distracting me, but in a good way. So welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure's all mine. So as I told you last time when we spoke, the kind of conversation I like to have on my podcast, or I'd like to have a look under the hood, so to speak, to see what's in your heart, to have a heart-to-heart conversation. Mm-hmm. Hence the name Leaders with a Heart. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So for people who don't know you, tell us, as a human being, as a person, who's Rachelle? We're going to talk about your business in a moment, but first, as a person, human being, who's Rachelle?
Well, I'm a little bit of a lot.
Yes.
And I'm a bit of a handful, some people might say, but in a good way.
Yes.
A little bit about my backstory. I grew up in San Diego, California. And after high school, I became a paramedic. So I was helping people with their 911 emergencies for about 6 years. And the contract negotiations were coming up, and many of us were not going to be carried over into the next company. So we went back to school, and I took a forensics course and got hooked, and I went into forensics. And I was in forensics for almost 20 years. And it was a fascinating time. I analyzed evidence from crime scenes, testified in court, did research. I taught all over the country. I was on a prestigious forensic board. And in 2017, I decided to quit. And I quit my job cold turkey and became an entrepreneur. And I've never looked back.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's been a journey. And the catalyst for me, I think, when I quit my job was in 2008, when I was diagnosed with that brain tumor. That really started my personal development journey. So I started nourishing my intuition, and that was really my internal GPS and guide to like what to do in my, in this lifetime and with my life. So over the years, as I nourished that and strengthened that inner voice and that muscle, it became louder and louder. And when I quit my job, I remember many people saying, "Oh, you're having a midlife crisis." And I'm like, no, it's my midlife awakening. Like, I know this is right for me right now. And so my tagline, live your life, because we only have one life to live, and do it unapologetically, because we only have one life and the time goes fast. So it's been a fun and interesting journey and career for me.
What you said, that's very powerful. One thing you said, you're just so powerful. I'm writing this down, is I'm not having a midlife crisis. I'm having a midlife awakening. That's powerful. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So tell us, I'm going to ask you now a series of fast, rapid fire questions to further get to know you. Now tell us, what makes you happy as a person, as a human being?
What makes me happy? Connecting with my children.
What makes you smile?
A bottle of wine, a good red
Oh yeah.
bottle.
Which type?
Oh, let's see.
I grew up in
Maybe.
the south of France in Bordeaux, so I do know my wine. Okay, so
Oh
tell me which
yeah.
one.
I would say like well, none of the ones that I don't know French that well, but I know like Napa area.
Okay.
Camus, Camus or like a Gagurch. A lot of the ones I like are Napa area.
Good wines. Very good. Absolutely great taste. Awesome. Now tell us, let's take the happiness level a little bit higher. What makes you come alive? What makes your heart sing?
I would say when people use their voice
Mm,
for to really share their message. That's really what makes me, when people, talk about it and they say they want to do something, but then they do it and then you see the effects of it. Like it's awesome.
Are you speaking my language? Because that's what I'm all about, helping heart-centered entrepreneurs find their voice through the podcast.
Yeah.
So you're speaking my
Yeah.
language. Awesome. All right. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, what makes you sad and angry?
What makes me sad and angry? I would say right now, with current times, I would say the divisiveness and how people treat each other.
Yes, I agree with you. Absolutely. Now, what scares you?
Not listening to my intuition,
I agree. Yes. That's
not
when,
taking a chance or trusting it and doing what my heart's telling me to do.
absolutely. Absolutely. I agree totally with that because some of the greatest ideas, inspiration I've had was some of the, sometimes you have gut feeling, sometimes you're doing something completely irrelevant, whatever you say, like you're doing the dishes or whatever, you're just walking, just doing whatever, and you get an idea. Don't discard it.
Yeah.
That can be
Yeah.
your next life-changing $1 million, whatever, impacting people idea. Pay attention to
Yeah,
those.
those downloads that come. I got my phone, I do an audio real quick just to keep it, or I'll write it down because like you said, you never know what's going to come of that.
But one thing, if I could make a complaint with the universe or God, when those downloads about to come, please give us a warning. Attention, attention, get ready. So I'm not in the middle of something
Right?
completely, not related at all. But
Yep. Yep.
that's awesome. Now, what's your number one personal superpower?
Oh, that's a good question. My number one. I would say, hmm, I I think it goes back to my intuition. I feel like my intuition is my superpower
Okay.
because it really does guide me with decisions. I get those downloads. It forces me, not forces me, but I'm present when I'm meditating and listening to my intuition. So being present is powerful. So I would say, really listening to my intuition.
Awesome. Yes, absolutely. Now, let's switch gears. You like traveling, right?
I do.
What was the very first trip you took?
Oh gosh, as a child, probably to Peru. My
Wow.
father,
Oh
my
yeah.
fa- my I'm half Peruvian, so I
Yes,
have a lot
yes,
of
I
family in
remember.
Peru.
Yeah, yeah,
And I remember going there when I was like 2, I think.
yeah.
But
Wow.
we did lots of road trips, but that's,
Okay.
probably like the biggest trip I took when I was little was to
Mhm.
Peru.
All right. Awesome. That's one country that's really high on my list because I've only heard positive, especially the Peruvian food. Phenomenal.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
Oh yeah. Now, let me take you on a different type of traveling down memory line. Go back to when you were a young girl. When we were kids, people around us, family, friends, relatives, teachers always ask us, "So, Rachel, what do you want to become when you grow up?" What was your answer back then?
You know what? I didn't quite, I knew I wanted to do something in the medical field. I
Wow.
always loved to help people. And I was, I was a babysitter when I was like 10, 12, 11, 12 years old. And And then I got my first aid, and then I got my EMT. I was a student athletic trainer. So I knew I always wanted to be in the medical profession. I thought I wanted to be a physical therapist, but then it shifted and I became a paramedic.
Wow. Okay. So growing up, so let's say when you were a kid, what was your relationship with school? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
I loved it because I got to see my friends.
Okay, good.
I was not a very good student. I was okay in elementary school, middle school, high school. It was just all about fun. So
Oh yeah.
I'm not a great student, and I really enjoyed. I had a really close class. Most of us were together since kindergarten, so we
Oh
were
wow.
pretty tight knit group, and we
Wow.
still are to this day.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Wow. What was your favorite subject at school growing up?
music.
Nice. Okay. Did you have an instrument back then, or you just love music in general?
So I took guitar in high school, and then
Okay.
I was also in the vocal ensemble group where we sang and danced and did competitions.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
What was the one subject you could not stand at all?
Um, Probably like math. Math was probably the one. It
Me
was really
too.
challenging for me.
Me too. What for you, was it because of a teacher that turned you off, or was it just you just did not like numbers from the beginning?
I really enjoyed math until I got to high school, and then it got really challenging and difficult. And I had this one teacher, and I didn't feel like he really listened to us, and many of us were struggling in his class. Half of us ended up failing, and we had to retake it. We took it with another instructor who was this like surfer guy who was so down to earth and mellow and just brilliant. And he really taught us, and that, kind of shifted my hate for math. But yeah, the teacher was, yeah, it was a little challenging, that first teacher
Yes,
I had.
teacher definitely makes a difference. Absolutely.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
totally.
Now, tell us, what was your very first job?
Well, I was a
Oh,
babysitter.
yes, yes, yes.
But if it's a paid job, like at a place, it was at a yogurt shop
Oh,
called
wow.
Yummy's Yogurt.
So were they paying you in yogurts? Were they paying you actual money?
Money.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Now, let's talk about your path. From the moment you left college to now, how would you describe your path? Would you say it was once you get into one lane, was it pretty much straightforward, smooth sailing? Was it like turns and twists, like a roller coaster?
I was like a roller coaster on steroids.
That's what makes it more fun, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'd be too boring.
Lots of pivots and turns, and yeah, it's been kind of, I mean, it had steadiness at times, and then
Ah,
major pivots and turns.
sure, absolutely. Wow.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure you heard the saying that says, change your story, change your life. By story, I mean what we keep on telling ourselves in our head all day long. So when you, Rachel, had to change your story at some point in your life to either change your life or bring your life to where you want it to be, how did you do it? Through the help of books, friends, relatives, mentors. So tell us the process you used to change your story to change your life.
I think many times it was just accepting what it was, not fighting it, not just surrendering to like what was going on. When I had my brain tumor and I started meditating and really reading personal development books, that shifted a lot for me. And I started finding people on social media that, were, people that were really giving value to others on that platform. And I just gravitated toward that because I knew there were things that I needed to change within myself. And they really helped me out. And then, since then I'm like addicted to growth. That's my addiction, is I can't get enough of it. I can't, like, teach me the next thing so I can expand and like break through and like, just become a better version of myself. Not only for myself, but for my children.
So what was the one thing that really allowed you to keep the fight when normally when you get cancer diagnosis, it's and most people take it as game over. So what allowed you to not give in to that and to push forward and to really say, you know what, I'm not gonna go down that like that. I'm gonna fight this. So what was the strength? Was it family? Was it books? Maybe you mentioned, communities and all that, but even before that, what was this? What allowed you to keep fighting and keep going?
Yeah, so my tumor was interesting because they didn't know if it was benign or malignant, and because of the rapid growth, they assumed it was malignant. And I had just delivered my second baby. I
Oh,
had a
wow.
10-month-old, and then I had an 18-month-old too. So what really drove me was my children. Like, I wanted my children to know their mother, and it was a very dark time for me when I first got
Sure.
diagnosed. And then, I've always been an advocate, and, I was an advocate when I was a paramedic, advocating for the health of others. I was an advocate in forensics, advocating for the truth of cases. And, it was a challenging time because my diagnosis was so rare that I really had to dig for answers, what treatment I needed. And then my insurance company denied me. And then I had to,
Oh, no.
fight my insurance company to get my treatment. So advocacy has always been a part of me. And I think that is my half Peruvian, half Norwegian
Oh,
combination.
wow. Quite
I've got
exotic,
a
eh? Wow.
little bit of Inca in me and a little bit of Viking in me. And it's like, look out.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. So how long did that whole fight last for?
So I was diagnosed December 21st, 2008. And then a year later was when I won my appeal. I got the treatment I wanted, and it took about a year. So during that year it was a lot, it was just a lot of stuff going on. But
Sure.
I knew, and this again, your intuition always tells you, I knew what was best for me and my body, and I did not waver off of that. And I just wasn't gonna take no for an answer until I got what I wanted. And so yeah, it took about a year, and then after that I had yearly checks. But I as I really dove into the personal development, the fear of it and that situation just got less and less and less. I realized I have no control over this. I'm going to live my life. It was a huge awakening for me to live my life fully and unapologetically, and
Sure.
just not worry about things that could happen.
Wow. Powerful. You know, one of the things I learned through my spiritual awakening for the past 2 years is that we all go through some very difficult situations. Sometimes it can be very tragic, the loss of someone, whatever. But at the time, it hurts like a bee. But looking back at it from a spiritual perspective, I learned to use and leverage the tremendous power of questions and asking the right question. The previous version of me would have, when something bad happened to me, would have played the victim and say, "Why me? Why did I do to deserve this? Why, why?" But now the more awakened version of me is asking different questions, such as, what is this trying to teach me? What is a lesson for me to learn from it? So when you went through your tumor and all your struggles, your challenges, now looking back at them, what was a lesson for you to learn from those very dark moments?
I think it's to not live my life on fear, like really just live my life being present. That was probably my biggest, is learning to really be present in the moment and not in the future and not in the past, because this is all we have right now, right?
Mm-hmm. And would you say that also helped and that was part of the trigger that also awakened you spiritually as well?
Yeah, I would say that was the catalyst to, I was going to a therapist at the time, and she's like, I think you need some energy work. And she sent me to this energy healer. And that really changed everything for me, because that's when I really started to learn more about energy and like how we hold it and what it can do to our insides when we don't let it out.
Sure.
And move through it. So yeah, that was like really the catalyst for me to start that journey of spirituality, personal development, really tapping into my intuition more and just being present in the now moment.
And then once you overcame that, what did you do next? Did you go back to your previous job, or did you change completely different path? What did you do after that?
So when I was after I was done with treatment, I was still in forensics, and I did that for another 6-7 years. And then that's when I quit. I still wasn't, I had just dove into personal development. So I was kind of like really, it was overwhelming because I was like learning about so many things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need work here. I need work here. I need work all over. And then over time, you start to work through those things and you internally just become stronger, more confident. You listen to yourself more. And that's where it came to a point where it's like, okay, I know it's time for me to do something else and quit this job and become an entrepreneur.
Oh, sorry. Speaking of that, was that a specific moment or event or something that happened that made you feel inside, hey, this is it. This is my time to turn the page? Or was that just a crescendo progressively going to that place?
It was a little progressive in the sense that I had gone to an event in San Diego and this is synergy and synchronicities that happen.
Yeah.
I'm sitting next to a guy and I'm like, I don't know this guy, but for some reason I need to get to know him. And so I start talking to him, get his name. And then fast forward like a year or two later, I see on Facebook that he's at WeWork, the co-working space in downtown San Diego. And I was like, oh, that's the guy I met. I should go talk to him. And I go talk to him. And his name's Kamadare. He's the he's the founder of Game Quitters, the world's most supportive networking group for video game addiction. And we just started talking about entrepreneurship, and he just started picking my brain and really making me think. And I remember him saying, well, when you quit your job, I'll be here, ready to, work with you. And I did. And I ended up quitting, I think 2 or 3 months after that conversation. I was on a flight back from a forensic meeting. And on that flight back, I knew it was time for me to quit. And I went back to work, gave 2 weeks notice, and I was done.
Beautiful. Now, beautiful transition. So now tell us about your business. What do you do? What kind of wonderful impact you're having in the world?
Yeah, so I love helping others amplify their voice, brand, and message through various media outlets. So one's through podcasts. I help clients connect to podcasts so they can be guests. And then the other is through the TEDx stage, helping clients get clear on their idea we're spreading. That's the slogan for TED. And what's your idea that you want to share with the world? And then my newer program is sharing your story in song through song, which is music. And that's what I did my TEDx talk on in this past October. I talked about the power of advocating through music. And that was through a personal loss of my sister that that story comes from. But the power of combining music and advocacy is amazing.
Oh, wow. So how transformational was that TEDx talk?
It was awesome. When I was in forensics, I spoke for about 7 years at conferences, teaching. Okay. This talk was the most challenging talk I'd ever done. And it was 12 minutes, but you have to memorize it. Oh, and yeah. TEDx talks, can be maybe they're very personal. And mine was very personal. It was about the loss of my sister, writing a song for her, and then advocating for colon cancer awareness through her story. And, it was an amazing experience. I think everybody should do it because it's such a cool platform. It's been around for a long time. It's a global platform. Mm-hmm. And if you really want to take your message to the next level, the TEDx stage is a great one to do it on.
Absolutely. How hard was it to get it to actually speak at TEDx? So how long did it take you from the moment you had the idea to actually being on that stage?
So I started applying like in December, and then I started applying to different TEDx events in the United States. And March was when I found out I got accepted to a TEDx event. So it took about 3 months that I was applying regularly to different events.
What is the application process? You send them like a pre-recorded video, they do an interview with you in person, or tell us about the process, because I'm myself interested in that. So, and I'm sure people listening to this will be interested as well.
Yeah. So when we help our clients, we help them get clearer for their idea, because the TEDx stage is not a stage for stories. It's what is your idea we're spreading that's going to help people like think differently, take action, maybe have a different perspective on something. Not that you can't share your stories, but your stories might be the through line of your idea. So it's really getting clear first on what's your idea, like what idea do you want to share? And then going through the application process, TEDx, the X stands for independently organized TEDx events. So they're all organized by different people. So if I were to apply to TEDx San Diego, it might be 5 questions. If I were to apply to TEDx Irvine, it might be 20 questions. Every organizer is different, so they might want something different. So it's answering those questions. They may ask you for, give us your idea in a 2-minute video. A lot of them will ask for videos because they want to get to know you. Who are you? Having you share on a video your idea for them. So, it depends on the event, because they're all independently organized, that they might ask different questions. And then you kind of wait. You wait to see, they accepted your application and they're reviewing applications. And then you kind of wait to see if you get picked, or they might ask you for an interview. So when they're starting to narrow down applicants, they might interview a group of people to then narrow it down even more to see if, you get accepted onto that stage.
I see. So since they're all independently operated, so I wouldn't be surprised if some would be easier to get into and some would be more challenging to get into. Is that
Yeah,
true?
some that are pretty well established, I would say, or have had the same organizers or have a really great venue. They might be, maybe they're a little bit more challenging to get on. But again, I really think if you're clear on your idea, that's where you're going to stand out. It's really positioning yourself to those TEDx event organizers that you have a great idea to share on their stage.
Awesome. So your business is twofold. One, helping clients get into podcasts, and two, getting them ready for their TEDx speeches, right? All
Yeah,
right.
so getting clear on the idea. And then I
Mhm.
collaborate with someone who worked behind TEDx San Diego for 10 years, and he helps with the framework of your talk, the architecture of your talk. So we collaborate together and we have a lot of fun with our clients.
Have you heard of Wendy Corner?
Yes.
She does something similar, but in Australia. So I was about to offer, if you want, I can connect you with her, but you already know her. So
Well, I know her
that's,
from the group. Yeah.
yes, yes. So you should definitely, I don't know if you had a chance to talk to her, but she's amazing. So get in
Yeah.
touch with her. If you want, I can make an introduction. I have my podcast, she's a good friend of mine. So it would be good to bring
Yeah.
your forces together.
Yeah, and TEDx events are global, so you can apply all over the world. A lot of them have themes, so you want to see what their theme is to see if it resonates with your talk.
So when you when you prepare your clients to get ready for the speeches at TEDx, do you work exclusively with clients in the US, or do you also work with clients in Canada and other places?
It's anywhere, yeah, because we can do it all remotely. And I'm not affiliated with TED in any way. I just support their cause and their mission, and I love that platform. But we had clients international.
Have you placed clients in TEDx's in Canada, like in Toronto, Montreal, Vancouver, and places like that?
Yeah, in the previous company I worked for, which was specifically working with TEDx clients, they were doing talks all over the world.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, depends on where they live and where they want to talk. I had one client, she was applying, she landed 3 talks. She did 2 in the US and 1 in France. It was
Oh, the one in France, was it in English or in French?
No, it was in English.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I didn't know that, because I was in the
Yeah,
impression
it was
that.
at a university.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
that's one part of your business now. Being a podcaster myself, let's talk about the podcasting aspect. So tell us, what do you do for podcasters exactly?
Yeah, so a lot of clients want to expand their audience, and one great way to do that and to share your message is to get on podcasts. So I help clients curate a list customized to their target audience and their avatar. and we look for podcasts that are in that particular area. I create that list, and then we create a pitch, and then I do all the outreach for them to connect them to the podcast.
Beautiful, beautiful. So what would you say in both of these businesses? Are they really, what I'm asking is, who's your ideal client? Do you have one ideal client for the podcast and one for the TEDx? Are they both the same person?
I would say both are people that want to take their message to the next level. So TEDx stage, obviously that's a global stage, and they really want to share it with everybody. Podcasts, I would say the same. People are ready to share their message, not on just social media and with their email list. They want to start really expanding and reaching out their message to other people.
Tell us now about the structure of your program. How long is it? Is it one-on-one? Is it small groups? Is it big groups? How long is the length of the program? Tell us all the good details about your program if someone is listening right now that would be interested in.
Yeah, so the podcast program is a 3-month program, and it's one-on-one. So I meet with them. We have a strategy, make sure we have the right focus on the list, and then we create the pitch, and then we do all the logistics around the outreach. And then the TEDx is also one-on-one. It's a one-on-one program. We work with the client directly to go through various sessions to really help them get clear on their idea for the TEDx stage. And then we do all the messaging for them for their application.
Okay. Now, share with us, if you don't mind, an example of the most remarkable transformation you've seen from one of your clients so far.
Let's see. I would say I had a client who she'd done a couple TEDx talks, and she wanted to start building that social proof more. Like TEDx obviously is social proof, like it really takes you up several notches, but expanding on different media outlets. So we did podcast outreach. I did outreach for her for some other areas too. And I think what was cool is that she kind of got addicted to like just really giving value. Like when you start giving value, you're not going with the intention of getting a client or the sales or anything like that. When you go in with the intention of just giving value, like you can't get enough of it. Sure. And so for her, she got on a lot of podcasts. She, as a result, she was asked to, speak at a summit. She was created affiliations with a lot of these hosts. So it was really cool to see that podcasts, and this, the opportunities are endless. You never know who's going to listen, where it's going to go, and creating that relationship with the host.
Sure, absolutely. That reminds me of one of the wonderful guests I had on my podcast. I don't know if you know her, Angel Tucci. Back in 2008, she was living in Denver at the time. She launched her podcast just for fun of it. And then the local radio station really liked her voice. They contacted her and they ended up hiring her to run the radio station. So she did that for 10 years. At the end, she had 3 shows of her own at the radio station until finally the radio station decided to move in a different direction. So yeah, podcasting can really, just like you said, you don't know where it can take you. Absolutely.
You never, yeah, I know. I always tell them that, trust me, the possibilities are endless. You just never know.
Absolutely. Wow. How are you getting your clients? Do you have a specific marketing strategy, or is it mostly word of mouth?
It's usually word of mouth and referrals. Okay. And we tend to have clients that work with us continually. Mm-hmm, so we have like podcasts, we have the TEDx, and then Tucker, who I work with for TEDx, he also does branding. So we kind of like have, sometimes a lot of clients need a little bit of each. So we have a lot of clients that do continued work with us, but it's a lot of referrals and word of mouth.
So when you first started this business, before you even had referrals and word of mouth, how did you start and grow this business?
Networking.
Yeah. Cool. Makes sense.
It's making connections with other people.
Totally.
You have to make time to connect to others, to learn about others, mm-hmm. and have them learn about you, and just creating relationships.
Totally. Because that's what, in my opinion, that's what business is. I used to be under the impression that business was a numbers game. While numbers matter, business is not
Yeah.
numbers game. Business is a relationship building process, because people do business with people they can relate as human being. That's what I mentioned at the start of the show. If they can connect, when you're looking for a professional, sure, they all qualify, they all have the credentials, but the one you end up selecting and doing business with is the one you get along the best as a person. You know, if you don't get along as
Yeah.
a person, you don't care about the title because that's not going to matter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's fun to get to know other people.
Oh,
Like I met
totally.
you through that networking group, and like, you know, I mean, you connected me to two people, and I mean,
Yeah.
it was like, it's just this ripple effect.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I love to do. I'm a connector. I hope
Yeah.
these connections become really fruitful. If at the very least, bring you to new friendships, that would be beautiful,
Yeah.
because you never know, even if it's a friendship at the start, you never know, maybe 6 months from now, they will they will hear about someone say, hey, I know this Rachel. Maybe let me reach out there.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Now, the theme of this podcast is cause, building impactful businesses. What would you say is a cause that is dear to your heart, Rachel?
A cause that's dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a cause that's dear to my heart is colon cancer, because of my sister passing away from it. So I'm an ambassador with the Colon Cancer Foundation, and I am a spokesperson with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance. And a lot of that was just me reaching out, wanting to share my sister's story, and then, to help together create awareness around that disease.
How do you become an ambassador for such a cause? Because my mother passed away due to ovarian cancer 12 years ago. My father passed away last summer because of bladder cancer. So how do you become an ambassador for these causes?
So I reached out to a bunch of colon cancer foundations. I created an email and just pitched to them my story. And this is my story. I want to share my sister's story. And through that, things evolved. They asked me to sing the song I wrote for her at their virtual concert.
Wow.
They asked me to, be a part of the Never Too Young for Colorectal Cancer Alliance for people that are diagnosed at a young stage. So, our stories are what connect us to others, to help others, to help create awareness. So, so they want people who have stories, because that's where it is, with connecting with other people for your cause. So I would say, if you want to be a part of a group, you reach out to them, share your story, and see how you can support, their organization with your experience.
Totally. Wow. Okay. Good to know. Now, listen, I really love talking to you. We have so much, because, we all go through a lot of, challenges and things that at the time really hurt. But those challenges for us to grow, to learn the lessons ourselves. But if all we did was just learn the lesson and move on, I feel that would be a waste, because we're only utilizing only 1% of the true potential of that gift, because that gift is for that obstacle is a blessing in disguise for us to grow. But once we grow, it's for us to share that gift, that story with the world, because this is what we are here, where every person has a story, as a message, no matter how so-called insignificant, whatever they might look from the outside. So what would you say so far has been the biggest story, the biggest lesson that you're here for in this lifetime, this planet, to help spread?
I would say for me, it's been advocating. I share, my experiences with my brain tumor diagnosis and what I did. And in sharing that, and my sister's passing and her story, I've had several people reach out to me, say, I finally got my colonoscopy and they found precancerous polyps, and I wouldn't have gotten it done had you not been advocating on. So, if there's an experience that you can share that you can think will help one person, all it has to do is help one person.
Absolutely.
And if you can help one person and perhaps shift their lives or help them in some way that's going to change their life, then my work's done, So it's really advocating and sharing so that I can help other people through those situations too, when they've been diagnosed with something or they hit a wall. And, how do I self-advocate for myself?
Yeah. I just had a question. Maybe that would be a question best suited for a doctor, but I will still ask you because you know a bit about it. So, is there an age that at certain point someone should do the test for colon cancers or?
Yeah, so they lowered it to 45. It used to be
Okay.
50. Now,
Okay.
if you had a diagnosis in your family, so for example, my sister was diagnosed at 46, her children will get screened 10 years before that age, so 36.
Mm,
So if your family has a history, it's great to see what age were they diagnosed, and talk to your doctor about that. The screening age was lowered to 45. So if you're over 45 and your doctor hasn't brought it up, then you need to bring it up to them. So, that's where you advocate for yourself. And the thing with colon cancer, just so everybody knows, is a lot of people tend to skip those colonoscopies because they feel fine. And colonoscopy or colon cancer is a slow growing cancer. And according to the Mayo Clinic, a lot of people with colon cancer won't have any symptoms. So you won't have any symptoms, but then when you do, it's maybe in the later stages.
Until it's too
So
late. Yeah.
that's why those screenings are there in place and they're so important.
Beautiful. I'm glad I'm recording this because that's something that honestly everybody needs to pay attention to, including myself. Absolutely. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wow. Listen, Rachel, this is awesome. I'm so glad that we connected, that you came here on the podcast to share your story. You have so much beautiful messages to share with the world. Now, let's wrap this up. And to do that, I'll ask you a series of rapid fire questions on advices.
Okay.
Now, what has been so far the best piece of advice you've received?
The best piece of advice I've received is the gift is in the shit.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Now,
and there's another one, rejection is protection. So when you're
absolutely.
rejected by something, it's protecting you for something. So
I always believe that. If something is not meant to be, it's for my own good, So, and that applies to everything, business, friendship, relationship, everything. So if you're not
Yep.
meant with that girl or that guy, is because, hey, that's for your own benefit,
Yep.
Same thing for business, whatever. Absolutely. Beautiful. Now, what has been so far the worst piece of advice you received?
Go get a stable job.
I was about to say that. Get a job, especially when you
Get a job with benefits or retirement, stability.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially in the beginning when you're building a business on your own, and at first it's very unstable, and people around you telling you, "Why don't you just stop playing? Just get a job."
Yeah, it's not really like, if you love a job that has benefits and everything, great. But for me, when I quit my job, it was like, constantly like, just go get a steady job. And I just, I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I hear you. Now, imagine that you were blessed with a time machine. You can go back in time and sit face to face with an 18-year-old Rachel. What's the number one piece of advice you would give to her, knowing all that you know now?
I would tell her that she is loved and she is worthy of receiving everything she wants in this lifetime.
Beautiful. Now, do you have your own podcast?
I don't yet. I'm going to be, I think I talked to you about this. I've been brewing on some ideas. So I'm not quite there yet, but this year I see it happening.
Awesome. Now imagine that today you have your podcast, and today you have the most special guest in the world, which is yourself. You're interviewing yourself. What's the first question that you want to ask yourself? What's the first question that comes to mind? Don't think too much. What's the first question that just comes to your mind?
Tell me what makes you happy.
And your answer?
Playing music.
Oh, love that.
And playing my guitar, writing songs.
So are you going to bless us with a little bit of music live right now?
Oh, I could.
Bring it on.
I could. Okay, let me get play. Hopefully
Oh,
this
wow.
isn't.
Beautiful. Wow.
So I'll sing. Do you want me to sing an original? Let's sing an original.
Please, you're the star. You choose.
All right. So this is a song I just wrote a couple months ago. It's called "Hey Bartender, Tell Me," and it's about a girl that goes into a bar, and it's just her heart's really heavy. She really wants to find love, and so she wants the bartender to tell her all the stories that they've seen. That there are love successes out there with amongst all the the other things they might see in a bar. So this is a song about that. Hey bartender, tell me a story tonight. Tell me I'll be alright and I'll meet that guy someday. And hey bartender, tell me what I wanna hear. Tell me while you pour a beer, it doesn't always end the same. Can you tell me all the things that you've seen? Can you make it so I'll believe? Will you pull me into your storyline and tell me that I'll be just fine? Hey bartender. Hey bartender, tell me, is he here tonight? Tell me that he's Mr. Right. Can you tell me his first name? And hey bartender, tell me that he's looking for love. Tell me that he'll be the one and his heart wants the same. Can you tell me all the things that you've seen? Can you make it so I'll believe? Will you pull me into your storyline and tell me that I'll be just fine? Hey bartender. Hey bartender, tell me 'cause I gotta go. Tell me just to take it slow and I'll do what you say. And hey bartender, tell me one last thing tonight. Tell me I'll be alright and I won't come here someday. Can you tell me all the things that you've seen? Can you make it so I'll believe? You pull me into your storyline and tell me that I'll be just fine. Hey bartender. All you said to me tonight, I know will happen to me in time. Thanks for making my heart a little lighter. Thank you, bartender.
Wow.
Thank you, bartender. Hey bartender, tell me a story tonight. Tell me I'll be alright and I'll meet that guy one day.
Wow. That was beautiful. Very
Thank
well
you.
done. Beautiful lyrics, beautiful voice, beautiful guitar playing. Wow. You should record professionally.
Well, we're making our album right now, my guitar instructor and I. So this will be
Wow.
available this year. Mm-hmm.
Let me know when it's available. I'll be happy to help you promote it in whatever way I
Thank
can.
you.
And I'll
Thank you
definitely
so
get a
much.
copy myself as well. So let me know.
Thank you. Yeah,
Very
that
well.
was the first. I collaborate a lot with my guitar instructor, but that's the first that I wrote and did the music to. So I was proud of myself.
What was the inspiration for that song?
um, I think I was just, I was home one day and I was just thinking about love and, you know, I've I think right now I'm in a space personally where I'm ready for a relationship, like a really committed relationship. I've been divorced for 10 years and I've, you know, I've evolved since then with you know, what I want, what I don't want, and what and you know, having that person. So I think just thinking about that and you know, thinking about like my personal experiences and I don't know. I just thought about the story of, you know, of finding answers. Like, how do you find answers?
Wonderful. Wow. Amazing. That is powerful. Wow. That's what I love about this podcast. You know, talk with incredible people with incredible talents. Wow. Amazing. Now,
Thank
one
you.
last question. Very welcome. One last question I want to ask you, and that's my favorite question. What's the smallest thing you've done that has had the greatest positive impact in both your life and business? And by small, I don't mean something small. I mean the one thing you've done. Like for me, it's been starting my podcast. What about you?
Um, I would say hiring a coach
Mm,
because sometimes you need help figuring it out. So if you don't know how to figure out, have somebody help you figure it out because that's where, you know, the momentum starts. You know, if you're in paralysis, in analysis paralysis, because you can't figure some things out, then find the people that really resonate with you, are in alignment with what you want, and have them help you.
makes sense. Wow. And then the last question I want to ask you is for me, give me tough love, give me the straight, you know, don't try to be nice. Do you have any tips for me to improve my podcast?
Um, hmm. I don't think so. I've been on several podcasts and I would say I love your rapid fire stuff. I think that is so engaging and it really gets you to know somebody very quickly, you know, in a short period of time. So the way you have your podcast structured is awesome because I listen to a lot of podcasts with the podcast outreach I do. And you're, you know, just from the moment I met you, you're very heart-centered and you're a connector, like you said, and just yeah, it's been very nice. So I would say no. Like I don't know. I don't know.
Wow. I appreciate the kind words, especially coming from you, who's working with the podcasters on a daily basis. I really take that serious. I mean, really mean a lot to me. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Now, if someone wants to connect with you, Rachel, what's the best way to do so?
Yeah, so they can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn under Rachelle Babler, Rachelle, Babler. And that's my website too, RachelleBabler.com.
All right, I'll put that in the show notes. So, Rachel, listen, it's been an absolute honor talking to you. Rich, I salute you. You're a true leader with a heart. Love what you're doing. Love your message. Love your impact. Stay safe, stay awesome, keep shining your light, keep blessing the world with your presence, and can't wait to hear your songs and can't wait to see you get your podcast going because you have so many incredible gifts through the lessons you've been through in life to share that this, and not only that, but also through the work you're doing with the people you're helping. There's so much wisdom and experience that you can share that a lot of people are just waiting for that, especially your ideal audience, your ideal clients are absolutely just desperately waiting for that. So the sooner you get your podcast going, the better you'll be able to help the people around you. So I salute you once again. Stay safe, stay awesome. God bless you, my friend. We'll definitely talk later. Take care, my friend. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye.